And just like every other time, we are back. My name's Charbel Milan. Today we got,
Daja Jennings.
and this is a time shared. So, Deja, just to get you up to speed, this is a time shared. The one and only podcast is trying to bring inspiration to people here in Atlanta and just people out in the world. And the only way we can do that is through people like yourself, bringing you on to share your story, your journey, and how you've gotten to where you are now. So, what we like to do is before we get going, we'll give you a quick moment to get everybody up to speed on who you are, what you do, and everything they should know before we get going.
Love that. So, hello everyone. My name is Daja Jennings. I am a resident here in Atlanta, Georgia, full-time college student. I attend Kennesaw State University, about to graduate with a major in business management with a minor in entrepreneurship. And simply during my time, very fast, I have started various businesses. The entrepreneur gift and ability has really pursued and persevered through this time of COVID. So that's a little bit about myself.
So, where did entrepreneurship really come in? Like, was it when you first got to college, or when did it really start to get to the point where you wanted to be your own boss? You wanted to get out there and create your own opportunities. You didn't want to just stick to the book.
I love that. So, growing up in a big family, I grew up, with about seven people in the house, or six plus me, seven. So, seven people in the house. And literally, my parents, they're both entrepreneurs. And so, all my life, all I really knew was entrepreneurship. And I saw the success that my parents were bringing in. And I was like, you know what? It's always been in me. And so, when I started school, I had a lot of things that I wanted to pursue, and I just didn't know how to go about doing that. And I never forget, my dad was like, I would give him an idea, like, Dad, I really want to do this. He's like, just do it, just go for it. So I'm very appreciative of my parents for always pushing me to, do what I really have a passion for. And I simply believe that, where your passion is, your purpose lies, and you just do it because you really want to do it. So I started this thing called College Chicks Rule, and simply it's a time where college females come together and they empower each other, encourage each other, and of course have a good time. And then, of course, I started my investment group very recently during COVID-19 because I found out that a lot of millennials don't know what to do with their money. Right. And I got tired of just working for money, but not allowing money to work for me. And I think that's where it kind of started. And then it just started blossoming and growing.
You mentioned a lot of really important things, and I want to get to all of them. But the first thing is to just do. Like your
Yeah.
dad told you, just do it. Like
Yeah.
you got to just get out there and do it. What was it like going through the fear and anxiety of getting out there and stepping into a field you didn't know anything about, and just trying to create something unique to yourself?
No, yeah, it was a man, it's very fearful. um Absolutely. Like you want to do it, but then you have that thought in your head, like, should I really do it? How are people going to perceive it, and all of that stuff. And my dad, he literally just gave those few words, you can do it. And I think that's all that I needed to push. And when I did it, I saw the impact that we were able to bring and make. And that's how I knew that it was a great thing, right? And it was a God thing. I'm a big believer in my faith, and I wouldn't be here like where I am now. I would not be here if it wasn't for God. So, absolutely. Now it was scary. I'm not gonna, but the scary things are, they're gonna yield you some results if you just step out and believe.
you that part right there where you said you didn't know how people would feel. I feel like that's the part everyone gets stuck on is what if I do this and it doesn't not necessarily get received in the right way, but it doesn't build and become the thing I wanted it to be. And now people are gonna, they're gonna laugh at me. They're gonna, oh, there goes Deja trying to. And it's that same concept that I find a lot of people get stuck on is what will someone else think? But once you got over that, was that when you really started to see just the signs coming to you and everything just starting to take off for itself?
Absolutely. I took off, the perception of people and really just followed my passion. Like, I love people, but people will stop you on really pursuing what you want to do because you're always going to think, what would they say? How are they going to take this? are my sales going to do good? You know, am I really going to go to the next level in this business venture? And what you have to do is you have to believe in yourself. And once you believe in yourself, then you'll be prosperous. Things will grow, things will mature, and matriculate like that.
So, what exactly is the group? Like, is it kind of like a networking environment for women, college students,
Yeah.
primarily?
So the college chicks rule really is majority females. I started it a year ago, and we had this big event. And I'm planning the next one. I'm planning the next one, okay? But we had this big event, and simply we brought in a influencer in Atlanta that really just shared and poured out to women. And it's just a time of girls just coming together and really empowering each other. So when they go back to school, they'll feel like they want to conquer the world. Because I remember going through school. You know, you can have your good days and your bad days, and motivational days and not so motivational days. So you just need that community and that drive. And so we were looking to expand the vision of what I started last year.
Okay, so it's almost like you have an idea and you almost kind of have the vision too, but you need the networking, you need the resources. So that's what the group's for. Is people can come
Yeah.
to it to find what they need, or is it kind of more of like an inspirational group? Like, do you guys push each other, or is it literal like networking and
Yeah, so the event that we hosted, literally women were coming from all walks. Like we had some from Agnes, from Georgia State, some from Kennesaw, some from all over all over the schools and here in Georgia, and literally came together. And of course, within that is networking, because what A might have at another school, B might need in another school, right? So within that networking, that's when inspiration came. And so just continuing that inspiration through, of course, the brand that we have on Instagram, pursuing that. Yep.
okay, so you said you're going to school for business, right?
Yeah.
So you started the group, things went great at the first event. There's a lot of traction being built. And you said that you're going to school for business. So when did that transition into finances? Because if I'm not mistaken, you're involved with like the forex market, foreign
Yeah.
exchange.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So most recently, COVID-19 took place a couple of months ago. And I had a part-time job, and the part-time job I had was lovely, but they laid me off, and so I was in a place kind of stuck, and I'm like, how am I going to generate some income, right? Like at that time, a couple of months ago, it was like not a lot of people were working. And so I didn't know how I was going to go about doing that. And I heard something, I don't know if it was like somebody talking or somebody saying a message. I don't know what it was, but I heard something that said, go after, you're going to do creative things during this time. And I woke up and I said, let me pursue this, right? And so I started pursuing, and I reached out to my friend. He also goes to well, he just graduated. He went to Kennesaw State, and I said, hey, I really want to know more information about this. And I figured out that this whole time I was already a participant in this large market. I said, wow, this whole time. See, a lot of individuals, they are either stuck or they just don't know because of the lack of knowledge, right? I did not know that I was already participating in this large market because I had a savings account, and literally the bank, they were taking my money in the savings account and they were putting it in the market and just multiplying my money, but I was just never getting the multiplication. And so that's when I said, well, Charbel, you know what? I want to be a bank. I want to be my own boss. I want to learn a skill that can literally set me off to financial freedom, right? It's more than the money, right? Because again, where you find your passion and your dream, the money will show up, right? So that's when I started learning the skill a couple of months ago. And then it kind of grew that I told my sister, my family, and then they told their friends, and then it just grew that I was like, wow, we have now a community of people that I really want them to position themselves to attract wealth. That's why the investment group is called Magnetic Wealth, because I believe that we're money magnets. We just have to position ourselves to attract it. That's about it.
That's crazy. I was listening to something today that was talking specifically about that. It was like positive affirmations, and they were talking about a money magnet. And that concept stuck with me. I was thinking about it like you can be a magnet for negativity. You can be a magnet for, failure. You can also be a magnet for success. And if you're depressed, if you're anxious and you're lost, you can attract more depression. And that's what people don't understand. So, what exactly, how exactly do you use Forex like a savings account? Because I mean, I guess I'll give you my background as Forex, right? I traded Forex for like a year and a half. I was more of like an active day trader. I liked the Aussie USD pair, and I would shoot for like 5 6 pips a trade, and then I'd get out, and things were good. But the thing about me was I really got stuck on margin, and I wasn't big into like leveraging my account a lot because as easy as you can make money, you can lose money, and now you're negative. So I was stuck at funds. I was stuck at like, okay, I'm looking at my screen all day to make $10 $20, and it's working, but I'm gonna push this off until I have the funds to invest. So how exactly are you using it like a bank? Like that's a very interesting
Yeah,
concept.
yeah. So I think, I looked at it as wealth is a mindset, right? And I figured out that I wasn't financially um, excited where I was. Like, I wasn't excited financially where I was. So I said, the term let me be a bank was simply let me learn a skill of what the bank was already doing. Let me do it for myself. See, a lot of people, they don't want to do it for themselves, but I'm like, let me do it for myself. And so when I partnered with, of course, our number one company, which is I Master Academy, they literally taught me what this was, like what the foreign exchange market is. And literally, it connected me to individuals that were 7 8 figure earners that were literally teaching me on a day-to-day basis. So, I went to school, now I'm about to graduate for 3 years. I went through I Master Academy and still going through it. And I learned the skill within a week. And once I started learning the skill, I was like, oh, this is not bad. This is not that hard, right? And so they really simplified the learning curve. And that's why I was able to grasp it and saw some results very quickly rather than late. So that's one thing I like is I'm not doing this by myself. I love it that I'm a part of a community with like-minded individuals, like my mentor, Mr. Riyad Jones, or Mr. David Emonitier, or just top leaders in the company that's continuously pouring into you. Like you can't bite it. Like, it's just amazing. So I think that's one thing that I love about it.
So how does that work specifically? So like you get involved, they obviously teach you, like your support and resistance,
Yeah.
like you got to learn obviously candlestick patterns, and you got to just, understand different time frames and just how to recharts. But how does that transition for the community? Because I never had a community. I was just kind of
Got
on my own.
you.
So it's kind of like lonely. You didn't have anyone to bounce thoughts off of.
Listen,
So,
my
so,
sister did that.
so how does that work? Like how does the
Right.
community work?
Yeah, yeah. So what I would say is the one thing I like about a community because they have a system, right? And system simply stands for save yourself time, energy, and money, right? So like a lot of individuals, what would stop them or hindering them from progressing much quickly is they try to do it themselves, and that's all right. Try to do it yourself, but you'll see that it can be a little challenging and a little lonely, right? But if you have a community that has a system in place, well, it's saving you time, you energy, and you money. That now, if you just connect with the system that we have, then literally you can just grow. I tell people if you follow the system works. Okay. But it's really not hard. It's really easy. Like literally, I tell people if you are coachable and teachable, and you really want to create generational wealth for yourself, I believe that of course, we have the number one company, but we have a great investment group that can assist you with that.
I know a lot of people, they hear stocks, they hear Forex, markets, money, 6 7 figures. And the first thing they want to think is not scam, but high risk. High risk. And of course, with high risk, there's potential for high reward. But a lot of people don't realize that that risk can be mitigated. You can bring that risk down. And maybe you might not be earning as much, but you're taking less of a risk and it's more of a comfortable place to have your money in, right? How do you leverage risk? And for someone listening right now who is stuck on risk and that's their one factor that's keeping them from getting involved, what would you say primarily about risk?
Okay, so what I would say is, um, period. Scary money don't make money. Okay, and I go back to a mindset. I figured out that there's a four-way cash flow quadrant, and I figured out that 95% of the population was making up 5% of the whole market. That ratio is not good. And I figured out only 5% of the population was making up 95% of the market. And through this whole cash flow quadrant that Robert Kiyosaki talks about in his book, it showed me that the one percenters were those that invested. But by investment, it said mindset. And I figured out through my time now over 90 days that this is simply a mindset. Learning the skill is only 10%, but 90% is your mind. Cause I'm not gonna lie, starting this out, listen, I was a little scary. I was like, but what if I lose? But what happened? Like, what if? What if? And one of the educators, and she's like a mentor of mine. Her name is Dr. Kathy Kirkland, and she said, scary money don't make money, honey. And I said, okay, if Mama Kathy said it, then you know what? I need to jump on it.
Mama
Scary money,
Kathy.
scary money don't make money. And so that's when I figured out that I followed the system in which we have, and we teach how you should, of course, not over leverage, how you should, trade with this amount of how you should leverage this amount with this trading account. Like we teach all of that within our program. And so that's one thing I love it because we're literally saving you time, energy, and money. Like instead of you trying yourself and trying to figure out what should I do here? What should I do there? We have a blueprint for you. And what Justin Owens always says, he's one of the top leaders. He just says, run the play. So like literally we have a blueprint, run the play, and then it'll help you.
So what pairs do you guys like to trade? What's your favorite pair?
So sorry, these was no, my favorite pair. I love indices, right? So XPX 500, NAS 100, US 30. I love those. When I first got started, I was all USD pairs, right? Because I think that I was familiar with the US dollar. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just do EUR USD. Let's just do GBP USD, right? And then once I saw that when I compounded my account to get to the indices, I was like, you know what? Let me now do these pairs. And I saw that I was making a little bit more money with these pairs faster. I was like, I like this. I like this a lot. And then, yeah, now we're on to binary options and just learning more things, growing into this.
Okay, sweet. That right there is what I wanted to get to, right? So you started off doing one thing, you grew your account, and you took it to a next step. So there's stages,
Yeah.
and now you've grown it to a point where you want to get into binary options. So like stocks and stuff.
So binary options is simply high frequency forex, and so
Also, it's still forex.
it's still forex
Okay.
in the foreign exchange market. But I tell people this is like making money in minutes, like literally making money in minutes. Like instead of waiting for pips, you're literally making whatever you want in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. So it's just a quicker time.
Oh, so is
Um,
it like the Oh, I know what you're talking about. So it's like you read the chart and then you're like in 30 seconds it's gonna be above this price. Is that binary?
Yes. So
Oh,
like it's literally
okay.
it's two things. It's either it has to stay above a line or it has to stay below a line. And I'm like, if somebody would have told me that, 4 months ago, it would look different. But everything happens for a reason.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. So that's what you're doing now. That's like what
Yeah.
you kind of got into.
hmm
So what's been your success rate with binary options?
So with binary options, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am still learning. But what I would say is like last week we did for me, I was like 6 and 2, 6 and 2. So I did it with an educator, with someone that's an expert in this. But I believe like the more that I do it, the more that my numbers will look better. Like 6 and 2 was changed from like 6 to 0 or 10 and 0. So I just like how I can continuously learn through this skill, right? Always learning, always a student.
That's something that Forex taught me as well, was not only controlling your emotions when it comes to money and detaching emotions,
Yeah.
but exactly what you said about how you went 6 and 2. So 2 times were unsuccessful, but
hmm
that didn't stop you from going in again,
Yeah.
right? Because I used to find that I'd make a trade, I was unsuccessful. If you take that right there and you're like, whoa, I just lost
Right.
money, like I need to stop, right? You're stopping yourself from making the next trade that
hmm
could bring back your losses and
Listen.
double.
Yep.
So what would you say to someone who get stuck on that part right there. Like they have the fear of losing money consistently, but they don't realize that that consistent failure could be a success.
Yeah, so absolutely. What I would say is, I didn't do that by myself. I tap into the system that we have. So if you, are trying to really be successful in this and you want to be a part of a system, I say connect with the community. That community is really what's going to help you change how you view things. Because before I started, like I said, I didn't have that. I didn't have that discipline. But because of my community, it taught me that, right? So that's what I would share.
Okay, do you try to use or leverage primarily your influence in two groups? Like, do you try to influence, like, you're involved in, the Forex group, but you're also involved in like empowering women and entrepreneurship group, right? So, do you try to mix the two and almost try to bring people from one group into the Forex
Yeah,
group?
yeah, yeah.
Have they
So what
crossed?
I would share with people is, you know, when you see my social media, you get me, right? So all aspects of me. I'm highly involved in my church. I'm highly involved in my school, my sorority, and other organizations. You get me, right? So if you are involved in aspects that I have led out, then of course you're going to see what we're doing now. And it just so happens that individuals are reaching out like, hey, Deja, I see you're doing this. Can you tell me more information about that? So, yeah, I don't like tell people, hey, I'm doing this now. It's just like, I just put it out there, what I'm doing and how I'm being successful in this and how I'm gaining knowledge. Because sometimes it's not really about the money, but it's about the knowledge and the value that you're really learning, right? To take it. So yeah.
So, what would you say to someone who's in your shoes before all of it, right? They're they want to they feel that they have more potential and they want to get there, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to get out there. They don't feel comfortable getting out there because you had that period where you were like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then you started something. What do you think is the biggest thing that holds people back?
Themselves. Like I put it out there one day, I think last week, I said, what's hindering you from going to that next step in life, that next goal? I mean, I'm telling you, everybody had goals. January the 1st, everybody had a goal of what they wanted to do in 2020. But because of life and things happening, we have, deterred from that goal. But what's hindering us from the next step in life is simply just us. And I really thought about that. I'm like, dang, what's hindering me from reaching what I want to do next is just me. Because again, I'm always in here. And once I got to tap out of that, I'm like, listen, okay, now that's when my eyes are opening up. That's when things are falling in place. So, really, what's hindering you is just you. But you just got to do it, right? You just got to take that step. You got to take the step in the water and just see how the water moves, okay? But yeah.
You mentioned when we first got started about how you had your money in a savings account. And once you came to the realization that, wait a minute, the bank is taking my money and making money on it, why can't I do this? Did it almost get you to stop for a second and have the realization that there's a lot of knowledge that society almost hides from the general population? Like we're almost set up to just be workers, to get a job, or actually to go to school, ask questions, learn what they tell you to learn, go to college, pull out money, whatever it is, pay off your debt and get a job and progress and have a 401k. And no one ever talks to you about writing a check, doing your taxes, trading stocks or Forex.
Yeah.
It, do you feel like that's a problem we have in society?
Oh, most definitely. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I'm just like, I just don't understand why this is not in the textbooks. Like, I should not, have to stumble on what the foreign exchange market is when I'm older. Like, this should be, when my little sister, is in elementary, middle school. Like, this information is so vital. Like, I didn't learn this in economics. I mean, I don't remember. So, I really think that, a lot of things are really hindering us back, just because of lack of knowledge and it's not in the forefront. I'm telling you, if a lot of individuals know how powerful the largest market in the whole financial world is which is the foreign exchange market, they'll be intrigued and really want to do it. A lot of individuals, they psych themselves out because they just don't know what if, what might happen, what if. And I'm like, what if you do well and you make a lot of money?
I feel like people never assume that. Like people always want to assume something's a scam, and I'm guilty of this too, where it's always like, okay, let's look at this and let's see how we can decode it and get the truth out of it. But then sometimes you get in there and you realize that hey, it's not that there is a scam, it's not that there is a manipulation happening, it's that there's powerful knowledge that people don't want to get out there. Because you said it yourself, 5% of the whole market controls 95% of it. And I think I heard one time that you could fit, I think it was like 236 or 39 of the richest people in the world, and you could crash the plane, and like with that plane would die like 99% of the world's wealth. It was some weird statistic like
Wow.
that. And it kind of gets you thinking. It's like, it's almost like there is no leverage. There's no benefit, or not benefit, but there's no upper hand. It's just knowledge. And it's like they set up these systems, they set up these like, especially colleges, they're privately funded, they're backed by the government, at least student loans are. And it's almost like they want you to become a number. They want you to become just an
Mm,
employee at a job. You get a
right.
401k, someone else takes that and they play with it in stocks. And when you're like 60, you pull the money out. And it's not unless, someone like yourself, you have parents who are entrepreneurs. My parents are entrepreneurs. And it's not unless you look at the world objectively and you say, well, I can take something from here, put it here, and get two things. And no one teaches that.
Right, right, right.
So when you first started to come across that concept, did you almost feel like you were going outside of the rhythm of the world?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I felt that this was uncharted territories that I've never been in, so it was different for me. Um, but I'm glad that I did it. Honestly, like if I would have, been stuck in what my environment was doing, millennials or this generation is doing, then I would have been stuck. But I'm glad that I was able to learn a skill that could set me off for financial freedom. And what I tell people is this: I say, well, you think it's a scam. I said, hey, I never knew that Forbes would feature things that were scams. And I'm very, prideful that boasting in this, that our company got featured in Forbes, right? So a lot of these things are really just dispelling non-believers. And I just think people, you just got to change your perspective on things and how you view it. And so that's what I did. I changed my perspective and I got in the position to win financially. And that's when the doors started opening. I started networking with high level individuals, and really just expanded my knowledge to just reach for more, not settle for like the 60K, but like settle, reach for the million, So, yeah.
As far as networking goes, right? What are some of the goals that you have for your personal group? And within your personal group, what are some of the things you try to teach people who are more reserved, held back, and they don't want to network, not because they're shy or because they're scared, but they just don't know what to do. They don't want to get out there and embarrass themselves and get subconscious. What would you say to someone who wants to network but just doesn't really have the skills, or at least they don't think they have the skills?
Yeah, I got it. So what I would just say is networking is so important. Literally, you are, meeting other individuals, and that can really that can really help you through your journey in life, right? So really looking at the importance behind networking, and then almost um stepping out. Like I keep saying, stepping out and just do it, because a lot of times we could just tell ourselves, I'm scared, I'm shy, I don't want to do it. Blah blah blah. Like it's just all in our mouth. Like like we're saying these things, right? But now you gotta speak positive. Like, okay, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna get done. If I just meet one person, if I just talk to two people at the career fair, like you just gotta almost talk yourself into doing it. Talk yourself into doing it, and then when you do it, you're like, oh, this is not that hard. This is just a conversation. I like this.
I noticed that you incorporate a lot of affirmations in your conversations and the
Yeah.
way that you describe your mindset. When did you stumble upon like positive affirmations and positive thinking and like high vibrational frequency energy type conversation?
Growing up in a household of faith believers, my parents, they're in the faith. Everybody's in the faith. So growing up, with the church background, it's in me, right? So I just tell people like, I'm so happy and grateful now. Like the world, like I could have been in another situation. I could have, been doing the stereotypic things that young black females do. I don't know. But really, I just try to look at a positive view and really just change my perspective on how I view life. And primarily it's through my upbringing or my parents. I never really seen them. I know, yeah, never seen them negative. Now I've seen them, a little mad at us if we didn't do what we were supposed to, but they really instilled affirmations in us. Like, you are the hand and not the tail. You shall lend and not borrow. No, no, no. You are supposed to be a boss. It's in you, right? So like those type of things, I grew up, listening to those type of things. Like one time I got a bad grade in school, and I was like, Dad, I got a bad grade. Like, I'm just crying, boohooing, and he was like, "What's your name? What's your last name?" I'm like, Jennings. He said, "Okay, yeah, we don't quit. You got a bad grade on this test, but you know what? We're gonna improve. We're gonna get better, right?" And so those type of things really kind of help me in life, and that's kind of how I, push in the organization. What you push out is what you want to get reciprocated back, right? So you push out negative energy, well, hey, you're gonna get negative energy back. Okay. But
That's
if you
true.
push out positive, good vibes, well, believe it or not, you're gonna get positive, good vibes back. So yeah.
So you try to incorporate all those concepts into your personal group.
hmm
How many members do you guys have?
So right now we're looking over like 50.
Wow.
I know, right? Like, it just nobody could tell me, like, 4 months ago when I started, that I was going to be leading 50 individuals. So we're looking to keep growing and expanding. I'm believing for reaching about 500 individuals that we can touch and impact, and start creating generational wealth.
So what are some of the goals that we can plan to see for the group, primarily with you leading them? You're sole leader, like.
Well, so of course I'm under my mentor. His name is Mr. Riyad Jones. But when I started, of course I got this saying. I was like, Riyad, I really do want to um, have a community of millennials that are positioning themselves to attract wealth. And he said, do it. Like him, my dad, just do it. So kind of that's what I needed, to have mentors that would just push you. I mean, I believe everybody needs a mentor, right? So yeah, so we're doing it. We are.
I know that there's a lot of change happening in society right now, and political climate, and a lot of the things that have been happening for the better, and people are finally starting to realize that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, your ethnicity, or your religion. You can get out there, you can make money, you can make a change, and you can change yourself. And it starts with changing yourself, and then that's how you change others. That's what I try to do here on the podcast, is
I love
just
it.
try to be a light to maybe the person you wanted to see but never found, so you became it, and then you can become the person that other people can see to change themselves. And I see that a lot in you. I see that you believe in yourself, and it's the type of thing where if a person's like, okay, I want to join this group, I want to be a part of this, but who's leading me? And then you got someone like you, and we're like, okay, well, they believe in themselves, they've found success, so it's almost like you've been a mentor to some of these people. So have you almost like found that with everything going on in the world, it's almost been reinforcing how you feel, or how have you been taking the energy with everything that's been going on? I mean, specifically here in Atlanta, every city,
Yeah.
how have you been taking that energy and trying to translate it into like the message you preach to your group?
Absolutely. So, life happens, and I tell the people, our family, I say, hey, I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it real. People ask me questions. We're talking, having a one-on-one. I always keep it real with individuals. Like when things took place here in Atlanta, I made sure everybody was all right. I mean, I called up everybody. Hey, you doing good? What can I do to help? Because it's more than forex. It's more than trying to make money, but it's really trying to just see, how are you doing? Are you all right? Are you sane? Do you want me to send flowers? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people really just have to connect with individuals, right? It's more than trying to reach something else, but it's just like, how are you as an individual? All right, right? Because you're part of the family. Like, this is a whole family. Okay, nothing, nothing more than that. Just a family. But yeah.
I really like that. I really like that. So that's something a lot of people don't want to talk about. And I like that you brought it up, and it's mental health. People don't ever want to talk about mental health. They want to educate you about, buy my course or, and there's a lot of good educational tools out there. But I really appreciate that you do that because you're reaching out to check on people's mental health. Do you think that in our generation specifically, with all the pressure that social media provides, and just a lot of people are lost because there's a lot of pressure to just be this person and
Right.
succeed and be the guy in the nice car or the girl with the Louboutins, and it's just people get lost in it and their mental health takes a hit, and people, they use drugs, they abuse many things. How do you feel like people can try to improve their mental health, specifically considering you've dealt with a lot of people and you've reached out to them and you seem to care about people's mental health?
Yeah, you know, growing up in the church, I grew up around a lot of people, right? And just wanted to make sure that people are doing good. My parents, they're in the people's business, right? So I saw my parents as leaders and how they were leading the church, right? And I saw so many great things, and I didn't know that from watching them this whole time that I'm almost pretty much doing the same thing that they were doing. Um, I believe that it's so important to just, check in with somebody, making sure they're good because you never know what that person might need. Like literally, I reached out to somebody, they're like, wow, I really just needed that message. Like that message really helped me get through today. So, you never know what the next person might need. Just do it. Like if you're thinking about somebody, text them. Like the world, life is too short. Life is short. So like you really want to you really just want to act on it, Act on it. Wherever your heart is leading you, act on it.
Okay, I really like that. That's what people need to hear. People, some are depressed, some are uplifted, but everyone feels alone. From talking to people through the podcast, talking to people about stuff on the podcast, just talking to people in general, I found that a lot of people feel like it's happening to everyone else except them. It's working for Deja, it's working for Charbel, it's working for, Christina over here in
Yeah.
gym, but it's not working for me. And the problem is, I actually heard Dr. Phil talk about this on another podcast. He said that people compare their personal identity
Mm.
to someone's social identity, and they say, well, they got the clean iron shirt, the new shoes, the nice car, they must be doing great. But just between them and themselves, they know that their parents got in a fight at home, or the electricity got shut off at their house,
Yeah.
and they're holding all this baggage, and they think it's just them, but they don't realize that everybody's walking around with this social persona, and they're trying to present the best image of themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But for someone who's hurt out there, they get lost in just seeing that. They get lost in thinking that it's happening to everybody else but them. So what would you say to that person who's
So
struggling?
what I would say is, you know, looks can be deceiving. Social media individuals put on this persona as if they got the car, but you never know, that car could be rented. They got the big house, but that house could be rented. Like you really just want to get your eyes off of that and really just focus on you, right? Because I believe that like if you focus on you, then you'll figure out the attributes, the strengths, and the weaknesses that you have. And growing up in church, that's really what teaching us, obedience and obeying, what the scripture says, and how God created us for a reason. God created you. God created me probably with a big nose. God created me with chubby fingers, like and I love that about me. But yeah, like the stuff on social media, y'all please do not.
It's a great tool, but people are getting misled. They get stuck
Right.
on it.
Like, don't know.
Wow.
I thought everything, I told my dad this, I'm like, I thought everything on the reality shows was real. And my dad was like, like some of that stuff is not real. A lot of that stuff is not real. I was like, for real? Are you for real? I just thought. Like, no. But the more that you expand your knowledge, then you'll begin to perceive and see, hey, okay, I'm seeing this, but I'm not gonna like think that everything in the world like that's real. Like, no, absolutely.
Do you try to limit like your social media usage? Because I do. Because I find it's toxic. Like if I'm stressed out about a situation
Um,
and I go on social media, it stresses you out more. It kind of like takes you more into that deep, dark area where you're like, ugh, like
Listen.
once again, it's happening for everybody but me. Do you try to limit your social media use?
Yeah. What I would say is I try to, you know, bring um positive energy through my social media, right? So if that is through the pictures or quotes or things that I'm doing that will help uplift somebody, I think that's kind of my goal. And a lot of people, what I see is, what is your value? What are you bringing on this big platform, social media? Like, are you bringing in negative energy? Are you bringing in positive energy? Right? So I do try to limit myself. Like if I feel like this is just too much, or things in life is just happening, and I don't want to see that. I gotta turn off CNN sometimes. Like it's some of the things, I just don't want to have that in my spirit because I'm gonna just feel down for a couple of minutes, couple of hours. But yeah, I do believe that like at night, turn the social media off, go to sleep, stop scrolling. If you're gonna use social media, use it for them to pay you, right? Like use it for like another aspect. But yeah.
Yeah, like a business card.
Um,
That's what I've heard a lot of people say that like Instagram is just like a business card. Like, hey, who am
Pretty
I?
much.
Here's my Instagram.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much. They show their brand and who they are. Yeah.
So do you plan to be like an alumni in your sorority?
Of course, I do. I am a part. If those that don't know, I am a part of the phenomenal Pi Phi chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So it has been a joy being a part of this phenomenal sorority, and I just can't wait to see what I'll be doing after I graduate, just to help our sorority with service. So
So what can we plan? We just got the backstory. We got leading up. We dove into the financial industry. We dove into your like influence networking group. What are some of the goals going forward? I know it's been hard with COVID. I know it's been hard with I mean, like you said, you turn on the news and one day you think everything's great. Next day you think it's going downhill again. What are you planning? What can we plan to see from you?
yeah, I love that. So, my goal has not changed. I am believing, of course, to impact more lives. As I mentioned, my goal is to reach around 500 individuals, and I believe that's just going to be the beginning of really what God has for us as it pertains to finances. Not only that, but I am in the works of doing something really huge for our college chicks next fall. So next fall, I'm looking to do something really big for college students, primarily females, having another networking event. But really during this time of COVID, Charbel, if I can be really honest, has, you know, a lot of times we can be on the go, like go, 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 go. We have no time, just to sit, right? And because of me being stuck in the house, I had a lot of time to sit, and I had a lot of time to just, reflect and just think, right? And then that's when these business ventures started coming and happening. So it's crazy how it started coming and happening at a weird time, but God would do weird things, and I'm just grateful to be in the position to help other people.
So you've slowed down and you're reflecting, right?
Yeah.
So are you trying to do something similar to what you did before? Like what exactly was your event? What did you guys do?
Yeah, yeah. So our college chicks, it was really nice. It was, I believe, last fall. Yeah, it was last fall. We rented out a rooftop, and we had a little silent party. Of course, we had food catered. We had a chef come. Then we had one of my sisters. She's like a big sister of mine. Her name is Maya Sly. She's a big boss entrepreneur, a mogul, just everything and above. And she came in and she literally poured into the ladies so much that like we have so many testimonials of like how much they gained with value and knowledge after that event. So I'm looking to do something like that again in the next fall. It's all about expanding your network. When you expand your network, you expand your net worth. So absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like today we've provided a lot for somebody to just be able to take with them and almost reflect as to, what they've been doing and just kind of because that's what people do, they're like, okay, what's Deja doing? What am I doing? Okay, that's great. I want to get up to speed like Deja. Because I always say this a lot that I'm personally attracted to intimidation. Like when I feel intimidated by a person, by a network, whatever it is, I want to go find out what it is. I want to get that person's number. I want to take them out to lunch, invite them out to lunch, and get to know them and say, why does this person intimidate me? How can I get like them? How can I get up to speed? Because a lot of people, they take the other route. They're like, that person's probably, selling drugs or they got put on by someone or there's no way they could actually be successful. And people want to just downplay a lot of people's success. I don't know what it is. That's what a lot of people have done to me. That's what I've seen a lot of people I'm close to do to other people. And I've never been I don't know. Just that's never been what I've put out. I try to like, okay, that person intimidated me. I was uncomfortable. Like, I want to see why. I want to grow because once I overcome that, I have the advantage.
Yeah.
So, do you try to apply some of those same concepts? Like, are you attracted to like intimidation? Like, do you like being uncomfortable to grow, or do you trying to like stay in your comfort zone and like,
No.
no?
So what I would say is, no, I agree with you. What I would say is, I don't think really no one really likes to be uncomfortable. Like, if push comes to shove, nobody really likes to be uncomfortable. But it's really in the uncomfortability where where things starts to change, right? So I got in an uncomfortable space, and that's when I launched out Magnetic Wealth, our investment group. Like I got into an uncomfortable space, and that's when I launched out the college chicks. Like when you get uncomfortable, that's when change starts really taking place, right? So I'm happy and grateful that I got uncomfortable. Getting uncomfortable, I like that, but now I'm grateful. Like, hey, I was able to get uncomfortable to not change where I am right now.
Well, hey, believe it or not, we're almost at an hour. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I feel like a lot of
Oh,
people are going to be able to grow from this and at least reference, what they're thinking and just help them get on track. But before we go, is there like a message that you'd want to leave somebody with today,
yeah,
like
yeah.
personal to yourself?
Yeah. First of all, what I want to say is I'm very thankful that you reached out to me. I know we went to school together, and you always had positive energy. Literally, in high school, positive energy. So when I saw that you were doing this, I'm like, oh, I love it. Giving back positive energy out. So thank you so much for this and your movement and what you want to do to help inspire other individuals. What I would say for those that might be watching or listening is just step out and do it, right? Like, I talked about getting uncomfortable, but stepping out and do it. The only thing that's hindering you from reaching your next goal in life is just you. So get out of your head and just do it, right? Don't allow um, what you're currently in to dictate your future, right? Because it's just temporal. But I truly believe that there is a great future for individuals, and just do it. Just do what you have been called to do, your destiny and your passion here on this earth. But yeah,
Thank you. That's amazing. For someone who's been watching this, how can they stay, up to speed with you? If you just
of
want to take a
course.
moment, shout out your
Yeah,
Instagrams,
yeah,
your
yeah.
group pages,
So,
everything.
um, so you can follow me on IG at Daja Jennings. You can also follow the You Can Do It movement at You Can Do It. And yeah, just keep us, in your prayers. We'll continue to post content and push out various things that we're doing. And yeah, share it, come, enjoy, be blessed.
Well, that's amazing. Well, thank you again for your time. And just like every other time, my name's Charbel Milan. Today we got,
Daja Jennings.
and this has been a time shared. Thank you so much.